stand up wherever you are. Let's set our hearts on Jesus. Let's give him our praise. Come on, sing it out with us. There were walls between us. There were walls between us. By the cross you came and broke them down. You broke them down. And there were chains around us. By your grace we are no longer bound. No longer bound. You call me out of the grave. You call me into the light. You called my name and then my heart came alive. Your love is greater. Your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love is greater. Your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Feel the darkness shaking. All the dead are coming back to life. I'm back to life. Hear the song awaken. All creation singing we're alive. 'Cause you're alive. You call me out of the grave. You call me into the light. You called my name and then my heart came alive. Your love is greater. Your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love is greater. Your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. And what a love we found. Death can't hold us down. We shouted out, we're alive 'cause you're alive. And what a love we found. Death can't hold us down. We shouted out, we're alive 'cause you're alive. And what a love we found. Death can't hold us down. We shouted out, we're alive 'cause you're alive. But every voice, sing it out straight to him. Your love is greater. Your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love is greater. Your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love is greater. Your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love is greater. Your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me.
Hey guys, my name is Katie. We're so glad you've joined us today. Be sure to say hello in the chat and let us know where you're watching from. If you're with us for the very first time, we're so glad that you're here. We'd love to connect with you and send you some information about our church and how you can be a part of what God is doing at Church of the Pines. So please, take a second to click on the link below that says Connection Card, or you can text New Here to the number on the screen. You can give us as much information as you would like to share, and we'll reach out to you this week by an email. Also, be sure to let us know on the connection card if there's anything you need and how we can be praying for you. Let me pray over us as we continue to worship. Father God, we just give you all the honor, all the glory today. We thank you so much for the opportunity to come into your presence, and we just invite your spirit into every single home, into every single family who is watching today. God, touch our hearts today and let us meet you face to face. Amen.
Formed, but it won't prosper. When the darkness falls, it won't prevail. For the God I serve knows only how to triumph. My God will never fail. Come on, let's sing that, my God. And my God will never fail. 'Cause 'Cause I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. And I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I see you, Lord. There's power in the mighty name of Jesus. And every war he wages, he will win. And I'm not backing down from any giant. 'Cause I know how this story ends. Sing that again. Oh, I know how this story ends. And I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. Yeah, I'm gonna see a victory. Yeah, I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see, and I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. Yeah, I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. Yeah, the battle belongs to you, Lord. I see Jesus. Romans 8:28 says that God is working all things together for our good. So let's sing this. You take what the enemy meant for evil and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. You take what the enemy meant for evil and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. Come on, you take. You take what the enemy meant for evil and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. You take what the enemy meant for evil and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. Come on, you believe that this morning? 'Cause you take what the enemy meant for evil and you turn it for good. And you turn it for good. Yes, you do. You take what the enemy meant for evil and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. And I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. You take what the enemy meant for evil and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. Yes, Jesus. You take what the enemy meant for evil and you turn it for good. You turn 'Cause I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord.
You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keep, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keep, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are here, touching every heart. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, healing every life. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, turning lives around. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, mending every heart. I worship you. I worship you. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Oh, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. Oh, waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. That is who you are. Oh, that is who you are. That is who you are. Oh, that is who you are. 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 That is who you are.
Hey, what's going on, Church of the Pines? So glad you're with us today. However, whenever, and from wherever you're joining us, I'm so glad that you're along for the ride. I'm really excited today to introduce to you a guest speaker. But before we do that, I want to remind you of what we have coming up in just 2 weeks. Right now, I'm standing in the new home of Church of the Pines here in Tyler, Texas at Times Square Shopping Center. And in 2 weeks from today, we'll be having in-person church services at this location. We can't wait to host you and your family. We'll have children's ministry from 6 weeks through kindergarten, and we'll have plenty of room for you and your kids in the adult service as well. So I want you to make plans on joining us if you're in the area. But some of you may live outside of the area, or you may be uncomfortable with coming back to church right now. And that's okay too. Rest assured, you'll be able to catch our Sunday services in the same place at the same times that you've been accustomed to seeing them. So we can't wait to bring this service into your home from this location starting Sunday, September 13th. Okay, there's a lot going on and we're really excited about it. But today, I'm excited to bring to you a message from Pastor Dino Rizzo. Pastor Dino is the Executive Director of our church planting organization, ARC, stands for the Association of Related Churches. Pastor Dino has a huge heart for missions and a huge heart for outreach as well. And that's another role that he has at Church of the Highlands in Birmingham, Alabama. Pastor Dino serves as the Missions and Outreach Director. We're so thankful to have him in our lives and a part of our church. He loves the Big C Church, but he loves Church of the Pines too, and he loves you, and he's excited to bring this message to you. Check it out.
Hey, what's going on, Church of the Pines? Dino Rizzo here. So awesome to be with you. It's an honor for me to communicate for a few minutes with you. I love your pastor. I love your church. Boy, I tell you, I'm at ARC right now in Birmingham where we plant churches, and we're a part of your story. You're a part of our story because we're planting more churches. And Pastor Les and Angela, boy, they helping us, man. They're helping us encourage other church planters who have a dream in their heart to do exactly what Church of the Pines has done, and that is to make a difference in broken, hurting humanity. So thanks a lot for being such an awesome church. Thank you for generosity. We're planting churches, got 40 churches that we'll plant hopefully in the fall. And because you're faithful in your tithe, you give consistently, go online or you do text to give, I'm just grateful for you. You can't really make a difference as a church if people aren't faithful in their generosity. And you've been doing that even as for the few years. And boy, the difference that you have made is just incredible. So thank you for helping us plant churches. We get to say yes to couples, just like Pastor Les and Angela, who wanted to see God move and had a dream in their heart to be right there with you in Tyler, Texas, and now to see Church of the Pines grow. And so thanks a lot for that. But then also thank you for how you've been engaging your community. You have not, everything happening around us with Corona, you've not set back, you've engaged. First Saturday serving, you've been a part of that. You've been doing gas giveaway buyouts. That's whoever came up with that idea, come on, that's from somebody who loves to serve. And on, you've been doing grocery delivery. And I love the idea that you've done the Love Your Neighbor opportunity where you've been doing care packages. I just think that's being the hands and feet of Jesus. So thanks a lot for how you've served. And we're grateful, man. And we believe in this world right now. You think about the world that we're living in right now. Think about what you're seeing today on our streets and the pain, what we witnessed in Minnesota where George Floyd lost his life, and what's happened in Georgia with that precious young man, Aubrey. But we could tell so many stories of pain and hurt. And thank God we're coming against the hate, the horror of racism. And we're going to do all we can to listen and learn. We got to change. We got to do better. And I know what you're all about as a church. We're going to do better. And the Church of Jesus Christ and the message of the gospel is going to change people's lives. And so I thank God for that. And because the church is making a difference, and because you're engaging and serving, and you're helping people that have their own personal issue. Maybe they're trying to figure out COVID and school and a job and all these different things. It's because you have great leaders. And I thank God for Pastors Les and Angela. Can't say enough about them. They are the real deal. And I know they miss you gathering. I know they can't wait to be together. But I want to encourage you, stay connected. Stay committed to the family of God. All the opportunities that they're giving you. Let's not give up. Let's not go anywhere. Let's stay faithful in our givings, faithful in our love, because you're being cared for by some great pastors. So we love you so much. Your pastor loves you. So again, it's an honor to communicate with you. And I'm just grateful for it. And I want to talk for a few minutes because I look around at our world and I look around at what's happening at Church of the Pines. And I want to talk for a few minutes around the idea that it's just time. It's time to serve. It's time to be generous. It's time to connect and stay connected. You know, there's nothing about the timing that has surprised God. It's just time. So let's talk about that for a few minutes and let's pray. Father, I thank you for your mercy and your grace. I thank you for what you're doing in the church. I thank you for our pastors. Lord, I thank you for this opportunity, even this format, God, that you would speak to us today, that we would sense a timing. We would sense an opportunity, that we would not see everything around us as an interruption, but as an invitation, that it's time to serve, it's time to give, it's time to connect. It's just time. So, Father, I pray that you would help us kind of have a great spiritual awareness, maybe an awakening because of things that are happening in our own cities, things that we're watching, things that we can be a part of, conversations that we're having. Lord, help us. Speak to us today. In Jesus' name, that it is time. Amen. I want to read for a few minutes just from one of just my favorite stories. This is one of my favorite windows in the Bible. I love this one. I always talk about how this is my favorite story. This is really my favorite story. When I look at all the incredible moments, all the instructional moments, all the inspiring moments of Jesus, of course, the cross and the empty tomb, but really at the end of the day, this is one of my favorite windows into the heart of God. So I did not come to Christ through just coming to a church, a great church like yours. I didn't come to a church. I didn't watch online. I didn't get involved with a small group. None of those things. I came to Christ through outreach. So how you serve in your city and how you do outreach right there in that community, that's how I got reached. I got reached through outreach. And so I thank God. I didn't know a lot of stories of the Bible. I've never just showed up in church. None of these things. I love finding these moments and finding these windows because I didn't know what God was like at all. And when I read a story like this in the book of Matthew, it helps me to remember. And I think these are times right now when we look at the world and we look at what's happening. I think these are times right now where we need to remember what God is like. And this is one of those stories that will help us to know what God is like. I want you to hear that because it's time. Here's what it says, Matthew chapter 15, verse 29. Jesus left there and went along the Sea of Galilee, and then he went up on a mountain and he sat down. Great crowds came to him, bringing the lame, the blind, the crippled, and the mute, and many others. I like that, many others. All kinds of people with all kinds of needs, with all kinds of situations. And look what they did. They laid him at his feet. Hearing that right there, church, when you hear lay him at his feet, it's almost an expression of gentleness, an expression of submitting, of offering. They offered the hurting. They offered hurting humanity to the feet of Jesus. The Bible said this. What did Jesus do with all these hurting people and all these situations and all these unique things and all the diversity of pain? Jesus healed them all. All of them. Not one of them, not a few of them. All of them. Everybody. All of them. Goes on to say, the people were amazed when they saw the mute speaking, the crippled made well, the lame walking, I would be too, the blind seeing, and they praised the God of Israel. They got excited. I don't know if you're watching it at home right now, if you're watching on your phone, if you're in your truck, if you're walking down the road, I don't know. But sometimes when you see God move, and I believe God's moving right there in your life, I pray that God is moving right there, talking to you, leaning in. Something happens. Again, I was not raised in church. I showed up in a church. But when I showed up in a church, I'm from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. When I showed up in a church, man, it was a happy church. They fired up. We'd have shouting services. I don't know if you've ever been in a shouting service. They wild. I never seen anything like it. Look what happens. It says, they praised the God of Israel. Then we see in verse 32, Jesus called his disciples to himself, and he said to them, I have compassion for these people. I love this verse. I have compassion for these people. They have already been with me for 3 days and have nothing to eat. I do not want to send them away hungry, or they will collapse on the way. He just realized that they had been here. Do you know they had a 3-day meeting? Now, could you imagine coming to church and pastor preaching, and it goes an hour, 4 hours, a day, 2 days, 3 days? If pastor went 3 days of preaching, good preacher now, if it went 3 days of preaching, I'd have to shut that down. 3 days. And after 3 days, man, there was no more Swedish fish in the backpack. The Capri Suns were run out. No more Ritz crackers. No more Fruit Loops. We hungry. Kids going crazy. And but the people stayed in there. They kept going to get their friend. They went and got their neighbor. They went and got all kinds of people with all kinds of problems. The feet of Jesus. And Jesus says, they've been with me. And they're hungry. And we need to shut the meeting down. Need to go to what's next. And he says, I don't want them to collapse. Hungry, starved, weak, frail. It sounds like humanity right now. Sounds like what we're seeing in our streets. The cry that we're hearing from people. People that have been abandoned. People that have been isolated. People that have been marginalized. People that feel neglected and not heard. Jesus looks at those that feel like they're about to collapse under the weight of COVID-19, fear, money, anxiety, addiction, racism. We're about to collapse as a marriage, as a family, as a college student. Jesus says, I have compassion on them. Then he says this. He says to his disciples, whoa. Where in the world are we going to get the food to feed all these people? And Jesus says, well, what do you have? And this is amazing. He said, well, we just have 7 loaves of bread and a few. It's interesting how, if you see right there, a few small fish, the emphasis is on a few. What's amazing to me, and you know how this works, sometimes we want to tell God how small of a gift, of a give, of a serve we have against the backdrop of this big need. I don't know why it is we love telling God everything we don't have. When he's not using us because of what we don't have, he's not using us because of the gift we don't have, because of the resources. He wants to use us based on what we do. What do you have? Well, my tithe and my offering's not going to make a difference. There's no way. Guess what? It's time to serve. What time is it? It's time to give what we do have. It's time to offer to our city, offer to our family, offer to broken humanity. Offer to a food outreach. Offer to a hurting person. What do you have? Offer what you do have. It's time to offer what you do have. I love the end of the story. They give it to Jesus. They sit the crowd down. He took the 7 loaves of the fish, and when he had given thanks, he broke them, he gave them, and in turn, all the people were filled. Look what it says right there. They all ate and were satisfied. It's amazing how he took something so small and fed all. He's going to do the same with you. I'll just, my gift and my ability and my resume and my background and my skin color, my speech, my ideas, my brain, my education, my what I came from. It's just so no. If you'll offer to me, it's time for you to offer to me. And if you'll offer to me, then it is amazing when I put, and you know this phrase, God says, when I put my super with your natural, it can change others. And everybody eats. And matter of fact, there was leftovers. Now, I'm an Italian man. Italian man love a little leftovers. There was some leftovers. And thousands were blessed. Jesus was glorified. I love that story. People say, well, what is God like? Is God a mean God? Is God a mad God? The times that we're living in. I ask, what time is it? I mean, my goodness gracious, look at the times we're living in. God must have forgotten us. God must have abandoned us. No, that's what God is like. God is a God that hears your need, that knows the needs you have, and will respond to. God is a healing God. God is a God that cares. God is a God that sent His Son to get involved. God is a God that sits in the circle of human. If Jesus was here today, He wouldn't be hiding out He wouldn't just be about a building. He'd be in the streets with people. So that's what time it is. It's time to connect. It's time to serve. It's time to give. It's time to go. It's time to lean in. It's time to, what I believe is an important word right now, it's time to notice. Notice. My wife sometimes tells me that some days I'm a good noticer, and some days I'm a bad noticer. Sometimes I notice the smallest thing. She can walk out with a new set of earrings. Where'd you get those earrings? Oh, she said, I can't believe you notice these new hoops. And then other times she'd go get her hair changed and walk out with a whole nother hair. I don't say nothing. And it's amazing how these are the time that we're living in right now, we need to be good noticers. Now, what I love about this story is the opportunity that Jesus gives His disciples. He gives them the chance to be up close and personal with what He wants to do. He lets them touch the fish and the bread, and somewhere between His prayer and one loaf and another fish, somewhere in between them, power hit it. It changed everything. In the distribution, like you've given out food and like you've given out hygiene. There's been a relay church somewhere in there, the supernatural, and you and I get to be a part. It's nothing like giving out something to someone who just has a need. We give our tithe. We give our love. We give our compassion. That's what time it is. And so I love how Jesus gave the disciples an opportunity to be up close. Nothing like seeing something up close and personal. Have you ever seen something from a distance, and then when you get up close to it, it looks different? Have you ever experienced something from the back of the room, and then when you get up close to it, and all of a sudden you're seeing it from up close? I never forget, I went to a concert years ago, and I had seen this group perform from far away. And the experience from far away was one thing. It was, oh, wow, it's amazing. But then I went back and I got to go with some friends. And I went there and I remember forgetting, and we went to dinner beforehand. Man, I was ready to go up and experience this music from way far away. And then when we got to dinner, the couple that was hosting, Dylan and I, they handed us some tickets. We looked at, we didn't know the seating chart. He said, "You're going to like these seats." We went into the arena, and next thing we know, we wind down. We are sitting on the front row of a raised addition, and then there was a walkway right in front of it. I didn't know what the stage had this walkway. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was lighting or sound, or I didn't know I knew nothing. And he had been to the friend of mine, he had seen it the night before. So he said, "Just watch, just sit, watch." Next thing you know, this concert starts. It was U2. And I'll never forget, Bono just walked out. He's right there. He's right. I had seen him before on a music video. I'd seen him before at a festival. This was years ago. But when he walked out, he right there. I hear the music different. I hear the music different because of the experience. It changed everything. It's time for us to have an up-close personal engagement with our. We were together right now. I wish we were up close and personal. We're going to be. We're going to stay close because there's really no distance in the spirit. I can tell you this, that music that night and that gathering, boy, it changed me. I've never seen a concert since. My wife took me to Celine Dion. Oh, yeah, guys, I went. Oh, my goodness. I never forget Young and Free, Hillsong, being right there on. I got to hear Hillsong from the side stage. Wow. It changes you. And you know what the interesting thing about that night when we were together at that concert? This must have been, goodness, it was one of our anniversaries, maybe 15, 16 years ago. You know what's interesting? Afterwards, I said, "How much did those tickets cost you?" You know what he said? "A lot." Can I tell you something? It's time for us to be willing to pay the price so that we can have an up-close personal view, an up-close personal experience with what God wants to do in our world today. It's the same in our marriage. It will cost you and I to have a front row seat, a premium view in God doing something in our marriage. What about our kids? Boy, it'll cost you. It costs a lot to be able to be engaged with our teenagers and stay in there with our kids when they go through a struggle, or as a single mom or as a blended family. It's going to cost us to engage our community. We may have to change. We may have to love people different than us. We may have to have conversations with others if we're going to serve or be on a team or be engaged or give financially. Make a difference for days of serving, days of connecting, days of loving. It'll cost us. I love this story. And I want to give you some application because, you got to have a little application. We're watching right now. Keep you engaged. I know you want to go get a bowl of cereal or go make a coffee or go make a job or do something different. It's hard to stay engaged, but I want to give you some application. I really believe they're going to help us as a church. Here's the first thing that I want you to remember as it relates to that up-close personal time that we need to have. It's time to get up close and personal with what God is doing right now. Here's the first thing that I believe, and what I see in this story, is just the idea of real grace. That's some real grace. Not that fake grace, not that fake love, real grace. We're right here. People that maybe did not deserve, people that maybe did not know, people that were maybe not perfect. Jesus did for them what they could not do for themselves. And I say that to someone right now. God Almighty wants to do something for you that you can't even do yourself. It's called grace, real grace. That's my prayer, is that you and I would have an encounter with real grace, and that you and I would be grace. That's what time it is. It's time to carry real grace to people. Come on, church. That's why God's got you there. That's why God planted you. That's why He's given you a great pastor. Real grace. Here's the second thing, is true love. I see it right here. True love. You know what I found out? It's one thing to love people like you. I love loving Italian people. I'm Italian. I can love me some Italian people. I see Italian people. Oh, I love Italians. I feel connected with Italians. I feel one with Italians. I like what Italians eat. I like what Italians drive. I like what Italians wear. I like how Italians sing. I like the loudness of an Italian. I'm Italian. I love Italian. But it's really not love till I love somebody different than me. We're living in a time, you know what time it is? It's time to love people different than you. It's time to listen to their experience. It's time to lean into their struggle. It's just real love. And you and I both know that it's very easy. Matter of fact, the Bible talks about if you're just loving people like you, it's really not love. So we see this in this story. If we wonder what God is like, it's real grace, it's true love. And you know, the other thing it is, it's costly compassion. I don't think it may not be compassion if it doesn't cost you. I got a new definition of compassion I read the other day. I think it's good for the days that we're living in as we connect as a church, as we connect with our community, as we get back to in-person gatherings, whatever it is. I think it's important. And what it said is compassion is when your pain enters my heart. Woo! I just want to go outside, yell that to the streets of Birmingham. I want to walk in compassion. Hey, your pain in my heart. I'm going to allow your pain in my heart. I think that's the heart of Jesus. It's Jesus. And I pray that you and I will walk in compassion. I know we don't understand everything. Sometimes I talk to people I don't understand. Sometimes God puts people in my life that are, they see things and they walk through things. And I don't understand maybe that addiction. I don't understand maybe that challenge. I don't understand that problem. But Lord, give me costly compassion. The other thing that I think is important in this story that you see take place right here is radical change. Radical change. Sometimes my wife will tell me, I don't need you to change just a little bit. I need you to change totally on this. And I think we need radical change. We need it in our world. We maybe need it in our mind. We maybe need it with our words. We maybe need it in our relationship with our son or daughter. We maybe need it with something that we're fighting, a depression, anxiety. Lord, I need radical change right now. We need it in our world right now. We need it as a nation. We need leaders to change. We need lives to change. Boy, did it not change everything? People were hungry. People were exhausted. People were vulnerable. People were scared. And he fed everybody till they all ate. And remember this, and were satisfied. Have you ever been so hungry? Oh, hungry. Then all of a sudden, man, you get them ribs, you get that pizza, you hit that lasagna, or that pork chop, or some of you that are vegan, you're going to get that broccoli, you're going to get that kale, whatever it is, and you eat that ice cream. For me, it's a bowl of cereal, as you can tell. Boy, the difference between a good meal before and after in a lot of ways. They were filled. They were satisfied. Lord, change us. It's time to change. It's time to connect. It's time to give. It's time to serve. It's time for the heart of God and the Spirit of Jesus to change my life. That's the cry. That's what your pastor wants. That's what all of us want. That's what your family wants. That's what this world needs. That's what the church needs. Change. And then the last thing is I just believe this with all of my heart. It's real grace. It's true love. It's costly compassion. It's radical change. And it's just one simple word. It's others. It's others. You know, sometimes if we're not careful, we make every story, every struggle, every pain, every time about ourselves. I know that hurts. We're going to laugh here in a second. I'm trying to encourage you, trying to keep you engaged. But can I just pastor you and love on you and be the big brother, be the old guy for a second? Sometimes if we're not careful, we make every moment about us. And these are not moments that is just about us. It's about others. Others. It's time for my life, my prayer, to be about others. It's time for me to notice others. Notice others. It's time for me to witness to others. It's time for me to pray for others. It's time for me to be kind to others. When I started dating my wife, her dad is a strong man, good, godly man. And I would be busy. I was in college. I was playing basketball. I was, I had a job. I was finishing up doing some ministry. And I was dating her, and he worked at the college I was at. And every once in a while, he was in one office, and then there was a group, it's like a pool, a secretarial pool, and some other men that were out there, were women, men, all the doctors, and at the school, some of the doctors, some of the professors. And I'd go see him. Sometimes I was so busy. Got to get to basketball practice. Got to get to the job. Got to get a paper done. I got to go see his daughter. And I'd roll through there. And I did that. One day I rushed in there, and he was standing in the lobby area. He said, "Ho. Did you speak to Gayla? Did you speak to Brother Pease? Did you speak to Dr. Trask? Did you speak to them?" What did he say? Did you notice? Did you pause? Did you realize it's time to connect, and it's time to love, and it's time to not be about you? It's that time. That's my prayer for us. That's my prayer, that you and I would understand the times that we're living in, understand where we're at as a church, understand where we're at as a people, and that we walk into these times for the cause of Jesus Christ with our hands open. Lord, here's my life. Hey, here's my resource. Here's my tithe. Here's my offering. All for you. It's time, church. Hey, let's be that church, and let's be that people. In Jesus' name, let me pray for you. Father, I just pray right now for every heart. I pray for every single person, God, that you would touch every life and let them know how they matter to you. Lord, in just one moment as we finish up and take a next step and go into our next moment here, I pray, Father, that you would bless every person. We would keep our hearts open, and we would realize what time it is. All those that have joined us, and as we move forward as a church, I pray, God, that we'd realize what time it is. And Lord, let people know that they matter. Love people, that they care for people. Somebody needs healing. Somebody needs a new beginning. Somebody needs time. Lord, in your presence, let it happen right now. And maybe you're watching right now. Maybe you've joined us, and you just need a new beginning in Jesus. In a moment, we're going to help you take those steps, and we're going to help you navigate that and be there for you. Be family. But I just pray right now, if you're here right now, just pray this prayer. If you want to invite Jesus into your heart, say, "Dear Jesus," I love saying this, "forgive me of my sins. Give me a new beginning. Give me a fresh start. I ask you to be my Lord and Savior. And in this time, I confess you as everything to me. In Jesus' name, amen."
Oh, wow. Thank you, Pastor Dino, so much. What a timely and relevant message. Hey, if you prayed that prayer with Pastor Dino today, I want you to be bold and take a next step and let us know you made that decision. And you can do that by texting the word SAVED to the number on the screen. It'll be on the screen, and then our team is putting it in the comments and chat below. Text the word SAVED and let us know. We're going to follow up with an email to give you some next steps, because this decision is just the first in what I'm praying and believing is the beginning of a long journey of faith and seeing God do great things in your life. And I also want to remind you, if you're checking us out for the first time, we'd love to hear from you too. You can text the words "new" here to the number on the screen, and our team's going to follow up with you. We give you 100% no hassle guarantee. We're not going to bug you, not going to show up at your house. We just simply want to follow up with you and let you know how you can get involved at Church of the Pines from wherever you are. Hey, I love you so much. Can't wait to see you again next week online, and then 2 weeks in person at our new location at Times Square. See you soon.